The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the weekly Noyantis User Group meeting. Today's the 15th of October 2018. Myself and John are presenters. As always, any questions or ideas or problems, so on and so forth, then please feel free to raise a question. Sorry, I think I've just got a message. People, sorry about that. I thought it was one of the attendees saying they couldn't hear me. Feel free to raise your hands. We'll get the mics open and we'll cover the questions accordingly. Kevin's got some questions, so that's good. So already got some coming in, which is a good thing. Just before we jump to the questions, I'll start with the updates. No new releases released in the last week. As always, work's going on, but we don't necessarily release them weekly. There are a couple of actual updates to do with some of the controls we cover. One is the HTML editor, and it's from a company called NBit, and we've had a couple of reports saying that basically they couldn't get in touch with NBit and so on, and I think it's going to an ISS page or something like that. Basically what it is they've rebranded. So NBit are now Zoopal. It's still Richard who owns the place and so on, but yeah, Zoopal Technologies. They still got their editor and viewer and an FTP control, which we don't particularly cover, to be fair, because you don't need it. And of course, they've been making some work here for .NET WinForms and so on. But yes, the main thing we're interested in is the controls that we've all possibly currently have, and our wrappers support are still there and are still covered. And interestingly, talking with him this morning via email, he's asked if we've got any wish list requirements for the actual controls. So if anybody does have any enhancements you can think of for the HTML editor, especially that one, now's the time to ask them. So feel free to drop any emails to me regarding that, and I'll pass them on to Richard, and we'll see if we can get some updates for a future build from them. So that's good. The other one, the other update is really we're building our website, we're updating our website, and basically I'm after some customer quotes, if you will. I know, John, I think I got one from yourself a long time ago, quite a while ago. But if anybody can or would be willing to drop a few kind remarks, if you will, some comments and a testimonial to the Noyantis products, then please feel free to email them to us, and I'll get them onto the new website. So that's right. That's it for the from an update point of view. So over to questions. Now I know Kevin's got some. So let's open the mic. Hi, Kevin. Can you hear us?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, coming through loud and clear.
Good morning. I'm sorry I've been away for a couple of sessions. I reported a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to use the report control browse enhancer in a legacy app, and it was generated wrong code.
That's right. Yep. I think I've dropped you a message saying thank you. Yes, I remember it coming through, and it was something. Browse, yeah, it was a prefix, weren't it? The BRW1 : something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't putting browse instance : in front of its variable name.
Right. The last couple of the last couple of weeks, we've been chatting just a little on the report control. We've actually been doing some other changes as well, but the report control, as you know, is having quite a bit of work done to it, new updates, specifically not specifically to the one you've just mentioned, but there are some other bigger updates going on with it. What I can do, don't think I'll get it out today, but I tell you, I'll do it in the morning. I'll do a little interim build so we can get that out, so that fixed. And if there's any other little small things, we'll get those out as well at the same time. So there's no problem on that. The other bigger changes, which are in dev, but they're going to take a bit more work, is I don't know if you use the data binding, but it's to do with the binding to an ADO data source, and now you not only will you be able to bind it straight to the source and view the data, but you'll also be able to edit it. We're using edit in place and basically still completely bypass the Clarion dictionary in its entirety. And the reason we were demonstrating doing that is for Unicode. Particular example we had was requirement actually was for displaying and editing simplified Chinese, and you obviously we can't do that in Clarion at the moment, and there's various comments going on about Clarion 11 and so on and so forth, not being drawn into any of those, but the requirement from the customer's point of view is still there and still very much needed. So the report control is going to be the vehicle for doing that. So basically you've got the report control who can sit on top of an ADO source, display the Unicode, let you edit in place, so you update in the SQL database as it was in this instance directly. So to pad that out even further, what we're also now going to do is, yes, you're going to have the report control that you can add to the screen like we can now, and the current flavors you can add it is raw, and you just populate the columns and the rows yourself. There are the enhancers, the browse enhancers, which is when you said about the legacy, it's got an incorrect calculation of the prefix, so that'll be a quick fix. But basically, yes, the enhancers, and then you've also got trackbar, but kind of put that aside. Then you've got the ADO data bind. So they're the three ways of getting the data into it. We're going to expand it a little further, not just with the ADO, with the data bind, not just with that, but the natural progression of that would be the supporting controls. So you would have, just like you have a Clarion browse, and you would have insert, change, delete buttons, and print and view, those type of supporting buttons, also adding the exact same buttons for the for the report control. One, that'll help in some of the data bind, and the other is the next update also will allow you to populate it, but without doing all the work yourself. And what I mean by that is, if you currently load it yourself, you have to do all the commands. You have to add the row, add the columns, add the row, populate the data into the row, and there's a couple of ways of doing that. So there's all those things to do. The next one won't require all of that. You'll be able to, just like you add a Clarion browse to the screen and say, I want those columns, and it'll handle all the loading for you and so on and so forth. The report control is going down the same route. So you'll be able to say the data source is a SQL table. The data source is a TPS table. Point it to the table, tell it the columns, and it will load the data for you and do basically all the displaying. It will be the equivalent of file loaded. We're not going to try and emulate the page loading of Clarion, but you will have all range filters, range limits, and the filtering and so on. So we'll make it by far as efficient as we can and get the loading speeds as fast as possible. With SQL, I think it'll still be pretty good. TPS will make it, of course, as fast as we can. Nothing's going to compare to the thing of the ADO data bind, because that's file loaded, but you're directly straight on top of the actual the data. There's no queues involved. There's no Clarion dictionary. There's no adding of things like that. It's just straight on top, sat on top of the data. So that's the big changes which are coming. Then they're taking some time, as you can imagine, but I will get you the interim one. So the prefix correction, that can go in. I can try and get it out tomorrow. Is there any other small ones on there then, which while we're doing that?
Well, that's as far as I got, because I couldn't get it to work in the legacy. I just wanted to show a customer we're prettying up the app, and I was looking at that as an alternative to give of course, more functionality to a Clarion legacy browse.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't even show it to them because unfortunately that didn't work.
Right. Well, I'll do that tomorrow. By all means, you're a few hours time-wise behind us. By all means, but when you're up and you're in the office and in work mode, so to speak, drop me a quick email. One, it will prompt me to remind me to get the build, but chances are it'll already be done by then.
Okay. And then, excuse me. It's been a while. How are we doing with the clashing appointments in the report control?
The last we saw is I think I've demonstrated that bit to you where it now creates you the extra queue. I can't remember myself now, but there's an extra queue which is constantly maintained at runtime for you of clashes. So, and this is
I hadn't figured out the display portion of it last time I was on.
That's right. And we were talking about just the do we want to visually, allow it? So if there is any, does it want to automatically add you the child role? Not much was done on that. Not much was done past that. But this will sound really silly, but it's also not that hard to finish off. Maybe I should put a couple of hours in just to finish that bit off. At least with a point where we can allow you to. I think there's two options of what you want it to do at the clash at the moment: reject the clash or allow or add the clash. And the two commented options were going to be, which I think they are now there, but commented are. Let me have a quick look. I'll soon tell you, because they should just be there in comment. Won't be a second.
I feel like the neglected child.
Well, no, let's get that out, because the other changes are, as you can imagine, they're going to be quite large.
No, I know. It's just that you've been very focused on the Chitlink or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's quite a popular and powerful product. Actually, in all fairness, it really is. Where are we? Here we go. Clash strategy. Yep. So at present, you've got allow and you've got do not allow, which are kind of the obvious. You're going to have allow, add child role. I'm trying to think what the other one was. Allow, display a warning, and then there should be probably do not allow. Yeah, do not allow. So the display a warning is just the same as allow now, except I just need to prompt you for some entry fields of what warning you want to, rather than me force the warning. Obviously, it's got to be multilingual and so on and so forth. So I'll just prompt you for certain things. So that, that's a 20-minute job to get that in. And the child row actually isn't that hard, because all I'll do is against each row, and tell me if this will work for you. And again, anybody else listening, let's just open up an example. So we might as well make a decision on it jointly, if everyone's okay, and we'll quickly show what we propose. That sound okay?
Thank you.
No problem. I will, like I say, I'll get this in. No reason why can't do some of this build tomorrow. In webinars, let's get the example up. Try to see the last time we actually demonstrated the report control, and okay, just open that up. I don't know if it's the very latest, but we shall take a look. Okay. this might have the clashing in it. It might not. I just pulled it out of one of the previous week's webinars, I'll be honest. So yeah, it might not, but at least we can explain what it is we're talking about. Okay, so we are talking about called track control. So we'll go with dates. The numeric. It's kind of irrelevant. What we've done on this here is we've populated some rows, and there you can see row ID is record 1, probably record 2, so on and so forth. Now, hidden behind the scenes, I keep track of those rows in a queue. And I know if it's got children and so on and so forth. And it's row object. It helps me be able to quickly get to what it is and manage it accordingly. So you've got that, and each one of then you've got the blocks. Pity we haven't got the one with the. Just 1 second. We did so much work to show the clash, and I showed it real time. Just going to see if I can actually just quickly find it, Kevin. It won't be a second. Nope. It was quite neat. We'll try this last one, and if it's not on this, then we'll leave it. No. No, unfortunately, it looks like we'll just have to explain it. Sorry about that. No. Okay. Basically, what you've got is a queue maintained by the class, and you've got your roles and you've got your blocks. If I was to add a brand new block and tell it to start at 5 to 7, then you would technically be adding a clash of that block, because you've already got something there of, I don't know what it is, but probably 1 to 10, something like that. So it would cause a clash. Now, you've got the options at the moment of automatically add or deny, and you're going to have a warning one, but we'll still allow it. And the last but not least is to allow you to add a child. So you would technically have a child row under here, which would still be essentially that same row, but you're going to use it to identify the clash, if you will. So if we were adding the one at 5 to 7, you would end up with, let's say hypothetically, something like that underneath, or however big that is. So it would be the same row, 30th of August foundation. It would show in a tree as a child, but you just have one row on there, like so. Sorry, one block on there, like so, in the same colour as what the master block. Well, actually, no, it'd be in the colour of whatever you're trying to add. So we could do that, and all what would happen is on the row, like that is rec 001. What it will also be is rec 001 dot, and I'll probably 0001. I'll pad it to four characters, so that it allows for 9,999 clashes, which is a bit extreme. You know, if someone's running their diary like that, then I'll probably look at replacing the person in the software. But you get the idea. So you basically, they would all be the equivalent of the same row. I'll just use a dot to separate that they are actually a child of a master, if you will, and just demonstrate it that way. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine. The indented parent-child tree was a little new from what we discussed, but that's fine.
Yeah, so basically the child, this is really annoying because I've demonstrated this. But yes, basically, where's our tree?
Right there to your left, tree.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so you can see, depending on the style that some show as an arrow, some show as this type of setup. But yes, you'll have this with a tree underneath it, but then you'll have your track bar on the end, so that you'll see, yes, it's a child of that row showing the potential clash, and I'll still log it in the clashes queue, if you will, because it is truly a clash of row rec 001. If that makes
Now,
sense.
question, curious. The it's me again, and I don't understand. Let's say those are clashes. Can you color those children, just that part right there? I don't know the template well enough to know. So I could highlight it's me again in red to show there's a clash.
So what are you talking about, on the row here or the track control?
Well, no, drop down the re again. Yeah, let's say it's me again. See the first it's me again.
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry,
Let's
yeah.
say that's a class. I can highlight just that cell, right?
Of course. Yeah. We can color
Okay,
the background, color the foreground. Do
If you want a visual, visual red or something, say, hey, you got clashes. They may not look to the right to see what the clash is.
Yeah, but
okay, good.
No problem. We can do that.
Hopefully by Christmas we'll get something like that.
I'm going to look at putting that in for you tomorrow in a beta form, and then that way you can at least give it a knock around, see what you think, and then we'll discuss next week if we need to make any fine
your regular calendar control has been a big hit with our application, so thank you.
Do what, sorry?
We use your regular calendar control, and it's been a big hit.
Oh yeah, well, I think I've said this numerous times because people ask, all these are great. Can you give us any real world, examples? And one of the ones which we use for real world. In fact, have I got it? See if I can actually show it down here. This will be a good tip for you. You probably already do something like this, so apologies if you do. But let me just quickly show you one of them. It's one of our applications. So we've got resource scheduling. Okay, now this is the report control in the track bar, as you can see, so on and so forth. You don't really have clashes because these are just people, and you're really looking just at a day at a time or a particular range, but realistically they run this at a day at a time. But all of this data is coming from the calendar, and I've been a big fan, and I've said on many occasions, that using the calendar with the track bar, you get the best of both worlds, because the calendar, looking at a day view for a calendar and different multiple resources, and then being able to drag around from resource to resource is really good, and users love it. But if you look at it from over a chronological time, sometimes the track bar can work just as well for you as well, or work hand in hand with the calendar. So we needed all the facilities here to be able to book appointments in and so on, and have them repeat. So you've got the power of the calendar to have recurring appointments, so we can say every Monday this is to do with like social care, so people making use of going into a day centre to go and see friends, socialise, but also they might have services provided there, pedicures and so on and so forth, and that. So they would go on and repeat a recurring plan. They would attend, poor old Doris or Ethel. She attends every Monday to go and play bridge and to go have certain hair done, that type of thing. So it's you've got this pattern which keeps repeating. The calendar's perfect for it because you can just put in a new appointment and you can say, okay, you've got your recurring, so we can say you've got a particular client, so on, but they do come in weekly. So yeah, they come in every Monday and every Wednesday every week, and she's not going anywhere, so there's no end date. that is just one record in the database, and it's going to cause n number of occurrences in the calendar. So we've got the power of the calendar to get that data in there just via one record. We'll cancel that. But then we need to be able to, this is to do with calculating the costings and so on and so forth, but we need to put that data into the report control in a track bar. Well, what you can do here, because basically they confirmed did they attend. So yes, they attended, but they only actually attended from 11 o'clock. So
right. Well, we have the calendar control, and then on another tab, we're going to put this report control so they can switch back and forth.
Yeah, well, the good thing of this is, remember, it's the calendar what's driving all of this data. So this repeating, they don't repeat because the calendar supports repeating as well as recurring. But here we've got recurring appointments. So we've got, we're called it Ethel. Little old Ethel is, actually this one's Duncan Sanderson. So he's coming in, and he comes in several times a week, so on and so forth, and we can see there, we've got this.
Okay.
The calendar's there, it just happens to be hidden. We've got our date picker controlling the calendar, and then to paint the data of this, the calendar supports a method called find all events, and you pass it a few parameters, about 3 or 4 parameters. What I think it's start date and end date. I think it's a resource, just in case you've got multiple resources, and a queue. So you define your own local queue, and you pass it these events, and it will find you all the events out of the calendar. The big difference here is you're not taking the data out of your table, because that wouldn't help you. That recurring appointment, we could have put it in a minute ago, would have a start date of, could be a year ago, 2 years ago, and its recurring pattern means it wants to recur every Monday and every Wednesday until I tell you to stop. So that's 100 and odd occurrences within a year, but there's still only one record feeding it. So just doing a report control on top of a table wouldn't help you, because you'd only have one record. So
we're doing it on top of a calendar.
Exactly. So we're using the power of the calendar to get all the appointments in there, and then we're using one of the methods of the calendar, find all events, which looks at the visual, the actual loaded events, the applied events, I should say, including recurrings, into the calendar, and then we take the data out that way. So that's a thing which might come in handy for you. Then you've got the power of the calendar for its recurring facility and its loading facility and so on, and then it's just dataless to just get the data out of the calendar via a queue. Sorry, tableless, I should say, not dataless. Straight from the calendar, straight into a report control.
Okay.
So that's a little trick, a little tip which might help you.
Well, yeah. When I get a report control to work, I'll be glad to try your suggestion.
So that's probably a topic for next Monday. So you report back on the track bar and the clashes and so on, and then we could knock an example around getting data from a calendar into a report control via the find all methods, and it's not hard. It's relatively simple, to be honest.
Okay.
So
thank you.
No problem. Any other questions, or while we're talking about getting quick updates out, any other questions, or anybody, or any queries, or maybe a quick update idea, so on and so forth? No, all seems quiet so far. No, all seems very quiet. Okay. Well, one of the tasks which we were doing for the last couple of weeks, and is basically, let's just close that. One of the things we've been doing for the last couple of weeks was related to creating a new support template to help on the CodeJock suite. So if we've got no other questions, we could continue a bit on that. We are actually getting pretty close, actually, for I won't say a first build, but a first beta, definitely. The idea is You've obviously all got the CodeJock suite, so various different parts of it and so on. And what we want to do is a scenario where it goes, you've got a solution, you've probably got 10, 15, whatever, you've got multiple DLLs within the solution, and you use various different parts of the product throughout different applications in the solution. So several of them might have the report control, a couple of them might have the calendar, and so on and so forth. And CodeJock released a new version when you want to go and update the version number throughout all of the applications. Well, that can take some time because you've got to go and open each app, go to the global template, change it, so on and so forth. What the new support template will do is allow you to basically have one central place. So you can go onto the one central place and say, I'm now switching from CodeJock 18.30 to 0.0 to 18.4 or 18.5, doesn't really matter. So you could do that. Again, you'd be able to do your reg-free com settings, and more importantly, be able to put your license details into just one place. So you wouldn't have to, if it's the report control is using 10 different apps, you wouldn't have to go off and repeat the same steps in 10 different apps with the licensing, the CodeJock, so on and so forth, the version. So that's the support template. We've been doing some work on the last couple of weeks, as we say. We've got it just on one. The whole suite will need changing to accommodate the new changes. But just on the calendar one where we're playing about, we're probably at the 60-70% mark of having that working and complete within that. So we could actually do some more on there. I'd prefer if people have got actual ideas and questions or problems, or just like a bit of training on some of the other products. But if we've got nothing else, then we will continue with that. Anybody got any usage ideas for the application, or maybe just quick questions? Nope, all still very quiet. Well, that's not a bad thing then, I suppose, really. Okay, well, we'll quickly show you the some people here just recognise the names. Might have been here for the last couple of weeks and seen them. It can be a little boring, but and some of you won't. So we'll just have a very quick recap. As I say, it should really help you. That's the whole idea. It should really help.
This is not boring. This is all very exciting.
But people don't tune in just to have a look at template design. They want to know about product usage, and how do I, like Kevin a minute ago, about the clashing the clashing of the track bar blocks and so on. So that's the ideas. Oh, sorry about that.
Peter says it's not boring too. So see, he's with me.
Yeah. Just had somebody come and offer me a cuppa. Can't believe it. I said no. Okay, that's the calendar. Was this not the? That's not the example from last week. I think I've just got the wrong calendar. The wrong example. Won't be a second. Where was last week's? It wasn't that. Oh, ignore that. That's a application template working on. Okay, so very quickly, I see a couple of different names. So very quickly, we've got our calendar, and we're used to certain. Let's undo that one. Used to our usual. So the main elements we're talking about changing are these: the CodeJock version, because you put these in all the places, in all the applications, which served us well. 10 years plus now, served us very well. But it is, there is the typical scenario where CodeJock come out with a new version. You want to apply it to your solution, but it's going to take you a while because you've got to go open each app and so on and so forth. So we're trying to alleviate that need. So CodeJot version with the supporting other options. Come back to themes afterwards, but image resource, language resource, the registration, and we were talking about the errors. That's where I was up to last week. The prompting for the messages, and the particular licenses, and so on. Those settings. That's what we're talking about. If we was to say use the new resource template, and this UI of it, by the way, will be. Sorry, I've just seen a question come up. I'll come to that in a second. This will be made a little nicer. Just a one-off question doesn't really tell us much. So before release, this will be made a little better with a description on it and so on. And this is the new template so far. So this is going to be in supplement. So we've got our scenario. Let's say 30 apps all in a solution. Main exe, 28 procedural type apps, and a central data app, that type of setup. You will add this to the main exe. I think I need to do some testing, but I think we're going to need it in the data DLL as well. But we're going to need it on the main exe, and on there you will specify the other settings, the settings we've just been talking about. So the CodeJot version, you can see all these, the image resource and the language resource, the registration, so we've got various settings, and the license codes. So you can see here, because it's for the whole suite, you've got the whole suite settings. So we're going to use, hypothetically, the calendar, the command bar, the flow graph. Put your codes in there, and it's only going to need those because we're going to use, you would have to use a predefined version on here for the license, and for the reg-free com you would have to use a predefined. So thinking about it, that the specify can actually go. We'd missed that one last week, John, and the week before. I think we'd missed that one. But yes, this will do your reg-free com settings if you've told it to do so. So that's what we're trying to achieve. And for our test last week, we can see it was down to generated code. So if we looked at this, the calendar is told to use 18.3. It was probably told to register somewhere. I'll have a quick look at that. Register within Windows, and this would be some generated code here. CLA TPL CLA, so Clarion template. That was should be Cal. We also wanted to see the difference. So calendar TPL, that type of thing. And 18.3. We look at the generated code of that. Oh, and the comment was from Rob, and he was saying he doesn't know enough to ask questions. He's there to learn, but doesn't have a mic. Well, you're welcome to come and learn. That's always a good thing. And feel free to type in your question as we're going through things. If you've got an idea and so on, or you just got a general question. So yes, basically, Cal TPL. If we look. Do we put register on there? Back to our calendar again. Register within Windows. That should have been a title. Oh no, it would go off into a. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to find it that way. Basically, they get loaded into globals. But believe us, the other videos are there for downloading. So that's the point we was up to. These get picked up, and either the calendar is used for its settings or the new one. So we're going to say use a new one, and we'll just take one compilation to see where it was up to. I think from memory, the calendar was told to use the CodeJock version, and we can see it messaging out. Now, even though we said on the calendar the message was CalTPL, this is where it's messaging out. It's CJ, which is the other template. So we know it's using the other template. Ignore the debug. This was just us playing about. And we are running in simplified Chinese. And if we do the about, it's running 18.5. The calendar template is set to English 18.3. The CodeJock resource is set to 18.5 simplified Chinese, and you're seeing the simplified Chinese come out. So we know that it's the CodeJock one. So that's a very quick recap of where we got up to. Let's open up the template. Of that, and so on and that, and of course we will need our new. There you go. We need those. Okay, so for us to be able to pass these values around, we're having to rework the template a little. Nothing crazy, but we are going to have to rework the templates a little because template variables. Think of them as variables in your own applications. They are local to the either the global template, so that ultimately they are global, or they are local to the particular extension where the template instance is. Well, that's fine. It can be global and can be local, but it's just to the local application. If you've got a multi-DLL, then of course those values are not going to be passed around because they are template variables, not going to be passed around from application to application. Clarion doesn't work that way. So what we have been doing here is we've been creating the template for you, the set of variables, global variables. So these would be created. They get set depending on how is a prompt, is a calendar using, and for those who've been watching, this naming convention comes from the particular product. The calendar happens to be 003, so we've got an NYS for Noyantis, and 003 is our product calendar. So does that prompt the CJ resource equal true? If we're using the CodeJock resource template, we want it to go and take set the content to the variables off the other template. And 10 happens to be for the suite, so that's why it's using 10. Else, there should be an else somewhere, there we go, else go off and just use the one off the local template. So what we're doing there is we're priming up a set of global variables with the values of our template instance, or the CodeJock template instance. So these will be set, and then elsewhere where they need to be used, so let's say hypothetically the error message, which we just demonstrated a second ago, that error is now used elsewhere in the template to say, okay, this used to be some template prompts that we would use. Now they're not template prompts anymore. They are just straightforward global variables. So this gives us the capability to be able to pass the values via template generated code, but before the template generated code, but we're passing the values via global variables. So yes, basically that's where we was up to. So I think we'll do a quick bookmark of that and go up to the top to see what variables we was up to. And with ultimately the work involved is this. We are just working our way through, having a look at wherever the template variables are being used, and then translating them into the transferring them into global variables and changing the code to use the globals. That's the job we were going through. So that set was done, which is the version no, hotfix Unicode x64. You can see all those are done accordingly. Where's the else? There's the else. Okay. The themes, discussion for another time. There was a question mark over the themes, which do want to be included in this work, but might not go into version 1 of it. There is the image resource and the language resource. And we have got those. What we're trying to do is actually put these into some kind of order, actually. So it's just easier for me to see them going through in the future. Okay, so that followed by that. Yep. Next was the register, and that was our register the control. Oh, I suppose just one quick thing is just make sure that those variables, the image and so on. No, not that one. That one. We better make sure that they're not being used, which I'm sure we've done these and they're not. Not very good. Yeah, they're using the global variables. Okay, sorry if I jump around quite a lot. It's kind of the way the mind works when you're deving. So yes, we've done that. We've done that. We're on our register. So that was the register control, the supporting variables for that. So the file location, the variable, and then the 2 error messages. And we've done those. Down here, we've got our register control, as you can see. That's good. And in the else, we've got the same. So that's good. So last but not least, and that's that. We was up to our licensing. I think that's, John, can you remember? Is that roughly where we got to last week?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. On my other monitor, I'll just have a basically copy these out. So there is that. That. Not bothered about that. There's ultimately the validation code, which is the main part from a code job point of view. Okay, that's set done. That's identified, I should say. So we come down to here. We've got our license number. I'm not sure. Something tells me the other things might be used. So let's just take a quick look. So the things we're looking for now is the percent, which is basically the license ones. So this is the ones we've just identified, which is the license include, copyright, prod ID, valid code. And yep. Okay. Not quite the same as the others, this, because the license code is going to be different per product. As you can see there, the calculated one. This is the group calc version from a template point of view is nothing more than a function, a procedure that you can call and get answers back should you wish to. What this does is you've got an insert, which means basically it's the equivalent of a Clarion include. And we are going to calculate the code job version from a couple of passing parameters. We're going to calculate the from and the 2 years, as you can see, and then it's going to build 2 variables. The calculates what the license copyright ID is and the license product ID. And what we mean by that, if you want to see it in action, is these. Back to calendar. Let's turn that off a second. We go to register. So go to license, and you can see this completed. The copyright is disabled and it's filled in 1998 to 2018, and the CodeJock version is calculated to 18.3. That's because our version is 18.3. If I was to change that to, let's choose a really old one, 16.3.1. Go across to this now and you can see it's recalculated the copyright for you to an older date. Actually, 2000, the other was 1998, but this is what the CodeJock licensing wants, so you have to copy theirs. Then basically what it's doing is it's calculating theirs. So it's recalculated that, and it's recalculated the product ID, and the validation is just what you have to enter manually yourself. So we're going to have to do that. Let's go back to that one. We're going to have to do that, but I'm going to need a different mechanism because each one of the products is going to, it's going to have to do this. Okay. We've only got a half hour today. I'm going to leave that one. We'll do the others. And the reason for it is we're not going to need, we jump to our globals and we've got our register here. That's fine. We can take from it, we can set that to the one off the global, and we can set that to the one off the, sorry, not the global, the one off the new CodeJock one. And we can do the same with all of the others. Comes to the license, we can do it with the license code. That's fine. But, and we've got this product ID, license copy, so on. It's not quite going to cut it because it's not one standard code. Like, there's not going to be that 10 license valid code. We go to our CodeJock template. This is where we're prompting for our things. These are our licenses. What we would want to go on here is that variable. We would want the 003, which is the calendar. But we're also going to need the equivalent of the other two, calculating for all of the products. I think there's 12 in total. 12 or 13, 13 actually. But basically what we'll have to do is we'll have to have this. When you select the CodeJock version, we rewind a bit on the code. This is a CodeJock resource template now. You calculate that. Then what it would normally do is go off and calculate. If we look at our, there we go. Yeah, when accepted, calc version. Sorry, it's not that one. It's this one here, version. When accepted, calc. So that's the equivalent of event accepted in Clarion programming. And it calls calc version. This is also going to need its own calc version. But that calc version is going to have to calculate the license code information for all 12 products, which is different for each one. Maybe not the from and to date, but definitely the actual, if we look in here, definitely this here. So we can still keep our from and to date being calculated as we've got now. That's not a problem. But we will need, instead of a license copyright, we'll need basically various ones, one for each product. I'll do that separately. Let's jump quickly to the other prompts then, and then all we'll have left is the licensing one. So we've done that. Let's get back a minute. Sorry, past the register. We're on the license. Right. Okay. It's these ones. We've got debug, left, and performance. And when those are done, it's only the license bit which we need. Now these, because they are common to all products, debug and performance, things we're talking about here, I have to keep jumping in to show you visually what they are debug this information for the debug viewer and the performance. I think it's, yeah, 3. I'm going to say 3 or 4. We need we need those. So let's quickly, let's do them. Now they're same for all of the products. So they're actually part of our lib. I can open that and open that. So tab debug happens to be in our central library, and here we go. These are what we're after. 4 of. That'll do. Actually, let's go straight into our resource. Oh, looks like we've already done some of these. I'll just put these in the same order as the others. Okay, version, resource language, the registration will be the licensing. Got our debug, and then we have a quick look at our prefix. Sorry, performance. It's all 3, and we can see we've even got those as well. Brilliant, excellent. Looks like we've already done some of this. Into our calendar. This is where they're being set. John, are you still there?
I am.
Can you? I've just noticed. I've gone a little quiet. I'm wondering whether we've switched tacts at some point, because we're declaring all the globals here, which of course I concur with. But then bet we've not set them to export. Yeah, better look at that. So we set all the globals. Sorry, there. And we've got the thingies. But then over here, we're not actually using them. We are using the template prompts out of the CJ resource. Yeah.
Yeah. We changed, or you did.
Yeah, it was the proverbial we. But yes,
I didn't catch that. Yeah.
Looks like we changed tact, and it's now making me wonder whether that's whether we should have done. I mean, now we made good progress. I think we did it because a lot of the places were actually still using it. It was easier to just go and use its own variable there, because we need that anyway, because we need to say, okay, go and initialize for that version, and that version will either be set from one template or the other template. So why we did it is correct, and I understand that. You just question whether we actually need the other variables. I think we'll keep them.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, definitely until we see it all working, and then I'll go through and strip the dead wood.
We can knock them out.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, so okay, well we'll carry on the same tact as we are now, because otherwise I'll just confuse myself. But these will be, oops, wrong. Oh, fingers and thumbs today. Okay, Perfect, and those as well. Oops. Thank you very much. Have those like so. Oh, go there. Last but not least was just the template version, which was common to both.
Will they be threaded? Is that right?
No, because I've got to revisit that. I've already got a note to come back and revisit them because it'll need to be calculated from, just like these were there before, where you calculate it if they are or not, external or not.
It seems that they would be.
I still got back.
It would go to all the other DLLs and still have the same value, right? No matter what it's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, there wouldn't be. Really throwing myself on this, because there's that's what it's, external DLL, so on and so forth. Why do we do them 10? Worried now. Because one of the things we haven't done on this is we've tested it in just this single app, which is a good starting point, of course. But we haven't done the multi DLL part of it. So so I have expected those to come back and bite us, so to speak. We'll just finish off on setting these ones, and then I'll question whether we even needed them. So that was just that. Yep, fine. They would be that. Oh, actually, they would be that either way. Oh. Ah, crikey. That's another thing which we're going to throw us in, because they get included, but they are just got a prefix of that. Both templates are going to have the same prefix. Oh, crikey. That's not going to work. Yeah, that's not going to work. Maybe we need to think about this, plan this a little better, actually, rather than just do it ad hoc. All those are set. Agreed on those with the external DLLs or not. Yep. And that. Where are those used? And it will be in the likes of the initialization somewhere. Interesting. They are used, believe me, not just put in for show. The ultimate debug. Oh, they might actually be in here as well. So in the lib. Yeah, they are set preferences, and they should be set debug properties. Yeah, so they're just inserts. Okay. You know what? I'm going to have to think on this one and work it through a little more. They're quite kind of okay to use them when there was all separate, if you will. But what we're going to end up here now is the calendar. See, point I'm getting is those prompts, even though they've got a prefix of 000, they are unique just to the calendar, to the instance that's using them, the template that's using them. So if you had report control and calendar on there, yes, you'd have two sets of variables named the same, but they would belong to different template instances. And we should still be okay. We should still be. So we'll prove it, but I think we'll still be okay. Kind of talking aloud. All right, we've got that. Whether all these are needed is kind of another question, but we'll that will still be the same code, if you will. Oh, sugar, no, it won't. I'm actually right. That will only ever pick it up off the local one. Where's the CodeJock one for the prompts? Yeah, that can't insert its own. It's going to need its finger. That's all right. I've got it now. Panic over.
Phew.
Okay, so forget the thread. I know we've got the question to ask on the thread, and it's that's quite right. If we're not using we use 0, which happens to be, you think it's 003, but it was because it was a common one. It'll use its local 000, and that one will actually create a new set of prompts, and they will have 10 on them. So I am going to need to copy those, and we'll rework this code in a second to use the to use the finger. So the globals. So we come to those. Got to be a better way of doing this, and there is. But temporarily, I'll pinch those. So this, where it's got NYS 000, it will have NYS 010. And that will want to be its own. There you go. This is where I think we'll change it, John, if you want the truth. I think we will be able to put that back to 2 standard inserts. Just let me undo that a second. I'm fairly convinced of what I'll be doing. Basically, I'll leave those as commented because I think they'll come back. And what you will be doing then is I'll set these, and in the other, I'll just, instead of saying equals that, the template prompt, it will equal the variable, which will be set, and so on and so forth. That's what I think we'll be changing. So, yeah, probably a good example of these recordings of what not to do. We'll do the tidy up of that afterwards. I just want to see this in action. 10 there, and 0 there, and then we rework that code. Nope, not that code. That code becomes, oh bugger. Oh. Gonna have two variables going into that, aren't we? Nope, yeah, that's right. Oh no. No, that won't work because that's common code on all of the products. Hence why it was 000. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to rework this. I'm gonna have to take time out on it and just make sure we don't screw up all of the products in one go here.
Yeah. We don't want that.
Not particularly, no. It's not the main plan I'm doing. But you see the problem. I've been a bit of a smart ass, and all of the products share basically. Let's just stick with any of these. That one. So I've got a common group from a template point of view, which the calendar will use, which is 003, the report control will use, which is 007, and command bars 002. But basically, instead of they're all having sets of these variables of 002, 003, 007, so on and so forth, I have one common group, and they all use them, which means I could also then have one common group and say, that's fine, go and set those. And they're all common as well. All works really nice. These are general settings, so they're not program specific. They're not, template specific, as in product specific, that is. So, because they're the same for all of the products. So I've done that, but the trouble is now we're trying to get it so it can switch between one and the other. That's fine. What I'll probably do is change it so these parameters get passed in as variables. As parameters. These values get passed in as parameters, and then that way I can just pass them off there. So, for example, we'd probably do it elsewhere. Yeah, here. I pass in a class object, and then I build a particular, the name of the class, pad it to 40 spaces, put a dot in there, and then build the methods. So yes, basically, I'll do it that way. So we'll pass in on the set. On there, I'll pass in 4, and that'll 5. And that'll be them. And on the other, I'll pass in however many I need, and so on and so forth. That's how I'll work it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, but I also want to prove it, and then I want to see if it's needed. So before doing that, I'm going to see if it's needed from the multi-DLL. I think we need to rework the example. So we've got a multi-DLL setup, and the values are working. We'll do it with the values we've got now, the CodeJock version, the register settings, and so on and so forth. I think we need to set that in place first, and then we'll do these last. This and the licensing together. But that's for another day. It's not for today.
Okay.
So, okay, if we are done, I think a couple of people have dropped out already. So yes, and I've just got a support call coming, so I'm going to have to on Skype. So I'm going to have to quickly answer that. But yes, thank you very much, everybody. Hopefully, again, you found it interesting. And until next week, I shall see you all then.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, Andy. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.